Hi guys, my name is Samantha Chepi and I'm the co-owner of Paper Money. And today's podcast is going to be about basic beginners entrepreneurship, and we're going to be covering almost not everything, but almost everything about starting up and creating your e-commerce store. So a little bit about myself is I'm 21 years old, just turned 21, April 9th. And I own my own jewelry brand, and I'm a certified gemologist. I work on gemstones, basically. That's my entire life. And I create content for Paper Money. I graduated from, well, in Africa, we say secondary school. So I graduated from secondary school in 2015, and I left Tanzania and came to Dubai. And I got my first certified polished diamond grading and my colored stones. So I deal with tanzanites and diamonds and everything in between. I took a 1 to 2 year break, and then I went to South Africa to get my rough diamond and gold certification in around 2017. But between 2014 and 2017, I was already selling items online. And I started Sami Chepi in 2015, late 2015. And then, this month is my anniversary for my jewelry brand. And that's pretty much what I do. We're taking on real estate this year in Tanzania, and we'll see how we'll go with that. But yeah, that's basically about me. And other fun facts is that my brand started with $5. I have a blog about it on Paper Money. You can go read about it. So let's get into it. My first lesson as an entrepreneur came from my dad, and he used to talk about being disciplined. Whatever you do, you have to be disciplined because that's how you get things done. So my favorite lessons as an entrepreneur comes from my dad, and he taught me three things: discipline, small costs sink your ship, and one day at a time. With the three lessons, that's pretty much what every business owner, millionaire or not, that's what they live by. You have to be disciplined, you have to have proper planning, you have to have, let's say, financial discipline as well, and you have to be patient. So let's start getting into what you have to go through or what you have to experience when you're an entrepreneur. Basically, the first thing is you have to have acceptance. You have to accept your customers, you have to accept yourself before you let other people accept you, because that's pretty much what you have to go through when you're making your product, when you're making your website, the things you have to accept down the line. And if you can't take in the little things, then you're pretty much failing at everything. So we've covered acceptance. A lot of other things include discipline, consistency, stability, reliability, a plan, well-being, visual and graphics, presentation. There's pretty much a lot of things you need to consider, but the good thing is we've narrowed everything down and explained it so well in our workbook called the Moneymaker workbook. You could get it from www.papermoney.com, thepapermoney.com. And yeah, that's pretty much all about it. We have a freebie. If you are interested, you could DM us on Instagram at the Paper Money, and we will send you the freebie. But it's only available to the first 100 people that are going to be listening to this. So we're going to dive in straight into how to start an e-commerce site, basically how to start your online store. And I just want to say there is no specific formula, and it's not black and white. You don't have a step-by-step process because everything has a shortcut, and some shortcuts are good shortcuts. So first of all, you need to decide what you're going to sell. I know a lot of people want to start with getting the website first and then deciding what they want to sell, but you need to know exactly what you want to sell and your budget. So let's say you want to sell cell phones, your own brand, and you don't have the budget for it. You really can't. So you need to understand what you have and how you're going to start. A lot of people do want to take a bank loan for it, but I don't suggest you do. It's easier to lose savings than to be in debt for like the rest of your life. So You can start small and then pick up from where you've started. So let's start with what you're going to start selling. Let's say you have $100 and you want to start skincare. The best you can do is take pre orders and invest the $100 in marketing, because everything sells on content these days. And if you don't have the right content, you're really not going to be making a lot of sales. So you've picked a product, you know your budget, and you know your platform. Basically, your platform is Shopify, Wix, YOLO, Big Daddy. Is it BigDaddyDomain.com? Something like that. So you've picked your platform and you know you're going to be selling on Shopify. And let's say you're going to be selling skincare. And then you're going to have to pick your social media: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you can do everything, then you should. But if you can only afford to make content for one social media platform, you should choose Instagram and Facebook. Twitter is great, but Twitter needs a lot of time for you to get into it. So you've sorted out most of everything. Now you need to sort your ideas out. How to work through your ideas and all of that. For example, you want to do a million things. You want to do skincare, you want to do hair care, you want to do makeup, you want to do basically everything. You can't. You have to start with one thing, and then afterwards you build it up. You don't just start with everything. That's how you lose direction. So you work with your ideas. You write your pros and cons. For example, you want to do everything. So let's start with skincare. What makes you want to do skincare? What makes you think you can do skincare? What is the advantage of you doing skincare, and what can't you handle about it? So when you lay it out, you understand that, okay, maybe I'm not as good in skincare as I thought I was, because it's not always about the product, it's how you represent the product, how you show it to other people. That's what matters. So let's say you have more cons than pros. So you need to step back and think about your plan again. And let's say everything is laid out, like you have all the pros, but you don't have the money. You might want to take a step back and reevaluate your pros and cons, because not having money is a con. And it's the biggest of all. Pretty much you can't do much without money. So think about your pros, and if it's the best thing to do without money, you can do it. For example, a lot of people do drop shipping these days, but I don't think it's the best thing to do, because how are you going to make content without money? Unless you're already into the content business, then it's much, much easier for you to, go ahead and start making content for your products. But if you're not, then you're really not doing the best you can do. So lay out your pros and cons, lay out your budget, know what you're doing, and then you can decide for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you, oh, this is what you should do, because, people are making money off it, but you can't really do what they're doing. Okay? So that's pretty much everything about laying out your ideas. Don't forget your pros and cons, your budget, your resources, and your content. So apart from fixing everything on your e-commerce store, you need to do proper business planning. A business is not all about funds. It's about structure, character, and personality. You could have all the money in the world, but if your product visuals suck, no one's buying from you. You pretty much need personality in every single thing you do, especially online, because no one's seeing you in person. No one's there to see if you look cute with a product or not. No one's there to see if, you're in a happy mood, so they'll buy from you because you're smiling. It's pretty much online, and you need to lay everything out there. So you need to structure your business based on personality, and you need to understand that, okay, this is real and this is serious, because a lot of people don't take online stores seriously. So you really need to sit down and plan and be like, okay, I have the funds, or maybe I don't, but I have the personality, I have the character, I have the structure, and all these things create reputation. So, do you have it all figured out? Do you have it all planned? Most business plans are just words of what they want to do, not what they intend on doing. Your business plan is not intentional. There's nothing on it that says, I intend on succeeding. That's why a lot of people have business plans, but their business is not going in the right direction. You need to have intention. You need to intend on succeeding. Your business plan shouldn't have, like, okay, my goal is to make $100,000. And then, okay, so how are you going to make it? It's going to fall from the sky? Are you going to dig it up from somewhere? You have to have a plan. So you're going to say, okay, I want to make $100,000 in a year, but I'm going to reach out to 5,000 people and they're going to make me the $100,000. You have to make a plan, but it has to have action. You have to say, okay, I'm going to make $100,000 in profits, but that's because I've served 1,000 people or 1,000 plus people. So, yeah, that's basically it. You have to make sure you don't claim something without action. You claim it with a plan of action. Otherwise, it's just words. I can't say, okay, Paper Money is going to be the biggest digital marketing agency in the whole wide world, and I don't even put effort in content. A lot of you are listening to this because we've really pulled through with the content. Free, by the way. Free content. So we've played our part, and you guys need to understand in business you have to play. So we've talked about your business plan, and what I can say is if there aren't any calls to action in your business plan, then you need a new one. Before you plan a business, plan yourself first. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Know your talents and what it is that you do best. So on to the next one is, how do I know this is what I want to sell? Newsflash, you don't always know at first. Sometimes the item you want to sell is not always the item you can sell. In terms of I'm talking about your personality, your creativity. Sometimes sparks up better with something else. You're allowed to experiment. You're allowed to discontinue your product if you feel like this is not what you can do or sell or create content for. And you're allowed to relaunch a product if you have the creative juices flowing again. Basically, just do what you feel is right and just move along with that, because you can't always sell everything. Even with skincare, start with something, one item. Maybe it's face serum. Market it so well, create really amazing visuals and content for it, and then you can decide, now I want to have something else. Because let's face it, there's so many face serums out there. You can't just stick to one. So maybe you can start with vitamin C serum, and you can go with some other serums. You can have essential oils as serums. Just focus on one thing that's your strength and work and build that up, and then you can move on to something else, maybe face wash or something like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. So how much do you want to start with? How much can I start with? A lot of people say that. I started with absolutely zero money, like $5, and I paid that for images so I can use it for pre-orders. So it depends with how you're going to start with, what you're going to start with, and basically just how much do you have? A lot of people are like, so how much should I start for my makeup company? Well, it's your makeup company. How much do you have? Don't wait for me to tell you. If I say, oh, you need $500,000, where are you going to cough that much from? You need to have your own budget. That's the first thing I tell people. How much do you have? You could start with as much money as you could possibly can, but what do you have? I usually tell my suppliers, I have $500, make it work. When I have more, I'll come back, but now I can only start with $500. And they tell me, okay, maybe you should buy unbranded products or buy bulk and repackage yourself. Those are still options you need to look into. And I was really grateful because I found a way around so many things that way. So start with how much you have. Like I said, there's no black and white way of doing it. And entrepreneurs are resourceful. They don't need everything in place to make things happen. So if you can't make things happen, you need to, think about your category and your life choices. Do you really have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? Because we don't complain. We make it work. So you have to make it work. How many products should you start with? As I said, how much do you have? What can you afford? I would recommend 1 to 3, the Three Musketeers. Otherwise, I don't think you should, stock up your website with so many products you can't market. You need your own content, and producing content takes money. Luckily for us, we have phone cameras that have a decent job at taking decent pictures, decent enough for Instagram. But you still need to consider all the costs that come with it. For example, if you need a model, even if you're using a friend, you still have to feed your friend. You still have to pay for transportation. I know all my friends aren't doing anything without food. And obviously, I have to pay for their Uber. So you need to put those as expenses for your business. Just because she's your friend doesn't mean the food is for free. Remember, it's business time you're taking from. So that needs to be billed. There's so many things. You have to get to the location. You need a backdrop. The phone itself is an expense. So put all of those things into consideration before you move forward. And another thing I want to talk about is know your expenses. As I said in the beginning, that small costs sink a ship. Basically, your ship is the business. So if you really want to succeed, you need to bill everything from transportation to stationery. Even if you bought one pen, remember, one pen is just not one pen. I lose my pens all the time. So in a year, you could be possibly spending $100 on just pens, and 100 could be going into stock. So you need to really analyze your expenses. Make sure you know exactly what you're spending your money on. This way, you have a better chance of succeeding. But if you don't exactly know all your small expenses, like where your money is going, you don't know how to keep it. So, for example, you had a shoot with your friend and you went for Chick-fil-A or you went for McDonald's, the Happy Meal. Yeah, it's not expensive, but it's still a cost. So you need to think about these things, especially as a small business, you know. Okay, so we've done that part, and let's get into pricing. Avoid poor pricing and be realistic, okay? I have a lot of people saying, oh, what if I sell something for $13? Taxes are gonna kill me. Well, do you not think everyone pays taxes? I've had this comment so many times, like, if I make 50K a year, taxes are just gonna take up half. That's what a millionaire is saying, but they all started small. So what's the point of not making money at all and not gaining anything just because you don't want to pay taxes? That's insane. And that's why a lot of people are broke, because they think not paying taxes saves them. But if you start small, fine, maybe half of your income is going to taxes, which is not entirely true. That's just a figurative speech people say. I've paid my taxes and I managed to save more. So this whole talk of half of it is going to go to taxes, no, it's not. Half of it you spend recklessly. There's a difference. So you need to realize that everyone needs to play a part in your business, including you. And when you start out, you won't start making a lot of money. I usually tell myself I'd rather make $350 a day than zero. There's a huge difference, and it's a big gap. So if you can't tell yourself that, then you'll always be saying, I could do it better, and you're not starting. So you need to start. Even if you're making $10 a day, you need to keep it going, because at the end of the day, you'll make more. But if you say, I'm not going to start because who wants to make $10 anyway? Well, a lot of people are making $10 every day. So, yeah, you need to change your mindset, basically. So when you're starting out, you won't make a lot of sales. When I made my brand, Semi Chepi, I took 3 to 6 months to actually make 3 months for a difference. People started asking about the product after 3 months. Imagine, I launched and everything. I have my images, spend my $5. And it took 3 months for one person to tell me, oh my God, your lashes are actually cute. I'd like to make an order. And she never came back. 6 months, 6 months later, I made money. Like maybe let's say $100 to $500 in sales. But it was after 6 months. I was like, okay, I have nothing to lose. and I've already spent the $5 I had, and I don't know what to tell my dad because he gave me my savings and I blew it all on a bad supplier. So if I went back and told him, all the life savings, the money you gave me when I was like small until now, like I'm like 17, 16, is gone, my dad would be like, okay, let's talk about this. Because, African dads don't play. So he's going to be like, nataka kuelewa. I want to understand where the money went. And he wouldn't. My dad was always like, you need to study first, then do business. And I went behind his back and did business while I'm studying. So he never really understood, like, where the money was going. He thought maybe I still have it or what, but he didn't really know what I was doing. And if I had told him, you know what, not only did I go behind your back, but I lost all my savings, yeah, no, it wasn't going to work out. So, I started out really small, but good news is 100K followers later and 17K in paper money, we're really doing good. So imagine if I had said, like, I don't even have the followers, I don't even have the friends, nor do I have the customers, plus the taxes. Oh, hell no. I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be teaching you guys. So start somewhere. You won't always start with many sales. I think my first year I made about $1,000 in profit. I still had to pay myself, I still had to pay taxes, and we were opening a store. I was knee deep in losses. I kept losing my cargo. I don't think we made profit. We never really did, but I was still around. So you need to start small, make wiser choices, and making little money is better than making none or making a loss. So let's get into pricing. Low production costs. You need to keep your production costs at a minimum. I know a lot of people are like, oh, made in China is 100% fake. There's a lot of propaganda when it comes to getting your products made in China, but you don't necessarily have to make it in China for it to be affordable. There's so many Asian countries you can produce your products in, and they have a reasonable quality compared to your price. So I know a lot of great stuff are made in China. For example, our phones, our laptops, satellites, NASA, all of those things are made in China, basically. Every single part, even if it says made in New Zealand, some parts of that product is made in China, somewhere in China, or in Japan, or in Korea, as I said, Asian countries. But you really need to find the right supplier. As I said, yes, China has a few, crappy suppliers, but let's face it, every country has that one shitty company. So let's not blame it all on China. And if I may be very honest, I've worked with the Chinese since 2015, and they've all told me one thing: we won't give you something you haven't paid for. So if I go to them and I say, I want a lipstick, but throw in some animal piss in there and make it as cheap as possible, 1 cent, 2 cents, 1 cent, 2 cents, they will give it to you because you're paying for that. But if I say I want top quality products, I don't want chemicals, I want natural stuff, all that stuff, they will give it to you. They give you the quality according to what you pay for. So if you hear from someone that, oh, this store has really bad quality products and they're all made in China, just know that person paid for that quality. They didn't get it out of the blue. And they tell you, what do you want? And you can always tell them that I want something that will last maybe 2 to 3 years. And you pay for that. If you want to cut costs, you cut the quality too. So that's something you need to understand. Not all Chinese suppliers are bad. And not all the business owners are, truthful and honest. Someone will tell you this is the best quality there is. And just because it's made in China, you think like, okay, this quality is not what the business owner said it would be. So screw China. No. Sometimes business owners lie. And don't be that kind of person that lies. So as a business owner, you need to take responsibility. If you're selling something that is of shit quality, you need to let your customer know that, okay, you're buying this, but it won't last you a year. And don't give your customer 3-year prices. You know, if, for example, you buy an iPhone and it lasts for, I still have my iPhone 4, so it lasts. You know, it's built to last. But they don't tell you this is a forever phone. You know, they sell you something that you can use at your own convenience. Now, other people will sell a phone to you, you know, some scrapped up name we can't even pronounce, and they'll tell you, oh, 5-year warranty. And 6 months in, you can't even call your mom. So don't be that kind of person that overprices items and can't live up to the quality standard. You make other people look bad while you're supposed to own it. You know, tell someone. There are people that don't mind paying short-term products. You know, people don't mind. As long as it's cheap, they can use it for 6 months. They'll collect money for 6 months and come back for another one. Not everyone wants something built to last. For example, people buy gold, 22 carats, and then there are people that want 9 carats. They don't even care. They're like, okay, as long as it's gold, slap it on me. They don't care. But there are people that care. You can find a way to produce to both people. Produce 9-carat gold and produce 22-carat gold. But don't limit yourself and lie to someone that this 9-carat is a 14-carat. That's how you lose reputation. So, yeah, basically we've talked about almost everything. One thing I do want to add, though, is a lot of wholesalers will say, buy from us because, you know, we're in the States and it's just much better than getting from China. You know, the hassle, the shipping, it's just too much for you, so buy from us. It may be true, but if you're buying from a wholesaler, that's $10 to $15 tops. That's the beginning price of maybe, like, let's say a phone case or a t-shirt. You go to China, same product, same quality, $1 maybe, less than $1. But it depends on the quantity, but let's just say $1 to $5 maximum. How many products are you getting from just one product from one supplier? Shipping is not always expensive because if you're shipping for your online store, you're probably getting 100 pieces max. 100 pieces minus, let's say, okay, addition to service charges and website and taxes. You can just take everything, your production costs plus shipping, add them together and divide by the number of products you get. So, for example, 600 lipsticks cost $1,000 plus shipping. All you have to do is take 1,000 divided by 600, 600 divided by 1,000. Whoever knows math, good for you. So you do that and you get a cost. It's actually cheaper than buying one product for $10 from your wholesaler. So be smart, guys. Yes, we want to have the labels made in America, made in New Zealand, but sometimes you can still get ethical suppliers in China for a cheaper price and save money. You can stick to labels and make less profit in a year, or you could, you know, be smart and be loyal and be honest and still make more. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And yeah, if you have any questions, don't be scared. Don't be shy. You can always DM the Paper Money. We're always available to help unless we're sleeping. But you can always leave a message and we'll get back to you. Don't forget to get the workbooks, the Moneymaker, the online business workbook, and the handbook, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, enjoy. Thank you.